Hey everyone, welcome back to the IE427 Garage. Today we are going to ultimately put power to the chassis harness, and I'm going to show you a little bit different way rather than just attaching it to a battery and crossing your fingers to do it. So it'll be a little bit more safe, and it'll give you some secondary fuse protection just in case you have a short circuit or a direct short somewhere, and allow you to go through and test most of the things in your car. We've also got some other things. We're working on the top for the transmission tunnel, and I think we're going to delve into the Bluetooth sound system a little bit, and I think that's it. So stay tuned and we'll get you going. I think what I'm going to start with is, today anyway, I'm going to pull off this false cover that I've got for the top of the tunnel, and I'm going to work on drilling the holes for the 090 aluminum top that we've got for the tunnel. I'll get the holes drilled for it. I'll get the nutserts installed. I believe I even have some hardware for it. So I should be able to get it screwed in place. I don't have the automotive fasteners. I looked and I looked. I thought I had them. I thought maybe I put them somewhere or that I didn't remember, and I can't find those things for the life of me. So I'm gonna have to go pick some up. But I can at least get the actual tunnel top, the aluminum piece, in place, so that when it goes to the upholsterer, all he has to do is worry about putting the covering on the top. And then I think I might get the speakers wired just so that we can test everything, because I'm hoping that sometime this week that I can put power to the chassis harness and start going through and checking things, turn signals, headlights, stereo, heater, all that kind of stuff that needs to be checked before we go ahead and put power to the Holley system to fire up the engine. All right, I have the riv nuts all installed. Sorry, nutserts all installed. I put 5 of them on each side. So one about an inch from the end on each side, front and back, and then I split the difference in the middle, split the difference in the middle again, and that's where they ended up. What I generally do on these is let me see if I can find my marker. Here it is. I'll take my pen, my marker, and I actually use my middle finger and rest it right against the edge of the panel, like this. I don't know if you can see that. And then I put my pen just at an angle, and then I will run it right down the side. Now you want to make sure you clean your panel before you do this so that you don't get any metal shavings in there. But that gives me a straight line to go by to lay out my marks for my holes. And then on this, what I did is I started over here at an inch, I marked it, and then I drilled it. I didn't drill it to the final size first. What I did is I drilled it with an 1/8 inch drill bit. Now you can use number 30 drill bits. I've been doing this long enough that I choose to buy these double-ended drill bits from the Shipwreck tool store. And they come in 10 packs. And I sharpen them too. I have a drill doctor that I sharpen these in, but after about the second or third sharpening, if they haven't broken yet, then they're usually ready for the garbage, because you'll get down to a point where there just isn't any more to sharpen them, and there's really nothing for the collar of the drill doctor to hold on to when you're sharpening them. But I sharpen all my drill bits. Here you can see I broke this one. It'll go in the drill doctor. We'll put a new point on it, and it will be good to go. You also want to get yourself a couple of the longer drill bits. I believe this one started out 12 inches long, and it's been sharpened so many times that it's about 10 inches long now. And then here's one an 1/8 inch diameter, and I think that was a 6-inch drill bit to start with. But anyways, I buy those little 1/8 inch double-ended drill bits. If you have trouble getting your rivets to fit, your 1/8 inch rivets, you can use a number 30 bit. They're just not available at most local hardware stores, and so it gets a little bit tedious when you're running around, or if you want to order them online and then you've got to wait for them. You go down to, like I said, the Shipwreck tool store, and they sell those by the 10, and I usually have anywhere between, a pack of 10 or, 2 packs, so 20 bits here in the shop at any given time, and I don't know. Anyways, I also wanted to give a big shout out to this riv nut tool, this threaded insert tool. It's awesome, and if you guys haven't purchased one and you plan to do any nut threaded inserts, pick one of these up, because for 50 bucks, I don't think you can beat the price. And the tool is a really good quality tool. All right, to finish this up, what we're going to do is we're going to use a Countersink Bit. You can get these at most local hardware stores. Just make sure you get one that is good for soft metals like aluminum. And most of the ones that are good for woodworking and whatnot, especially if they have, like this one, I think it's got 5 blades on it, 6 blades. It's going to be good for soft metals as well. And then just run it in there deep enough so that when you put your screws in, they're flush with the top. So we've gone around, we've done all of the countersinks on all 10 of the holes. And then we're going to take some acetone, and we're going to wipe off all of our marked lines. Don't be that guy, especially if you're if you want your build to be high quality, that doesn't wipe off the marker on your panels. And then once that's all done, this panel's ready to go in. Coming up on the end of the day here, I went to the hardware store this afternoon. I picked up the thumb screws for the battery box cover. And as you can see in there, I put a washer in behind it. And what that helps to do is to keep the wing of the thumb screw from just digging into the carpet. It actually pushes the carpet down and allows you to get these snug. They're just hand tight, so you can get these things off if you need to get in there to the battery. Remember, we did put a grommet in behind here. There's actually a hole in the carpet right here. We're going to feed out the charge wire for our battery tender, or whichever charger we end up going with. Did some work on the dash. Got most of the harnesses plugged together. So these are the dash harnesses, 1, 2, 3. Still have to plug in the turn signal switch. Probably do that tomorrow. We have the ignition key switch put in where it's going to be, and we tighten it down. What I use to tighten this down, this ring that threads on, is I use a small pair of channel lock pliers, and I wrap masking tape around the jaws of it so I don't booger up the finish on the outside, and I just hold it tight enough so that I can turn it without it sliding. And so it's nice and tight in there. The switch does everything it needs to do and springs back from start, so we're good there. And I went ahead and mounted up our heater control switch and knob. Michael had these knobs before, but he had purchased the backing plate that has the off, low, medium, and high marked on them. And so I went ahead and I made all of the detents on the switch match what the position of the knob was. So that's done. One thing that took a bunch of time this afternoon was these pedal pads. We got these pedal pads from Mike Forte at Forte's Parts Connection, and these are custom machined billet pads, foot pads for the brake pedal and the clutch. Now Mike makes these for the Willwood pedal box. So it has a number of screw holes in it, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, that match up with the Wilwood pedal box, so it'll just screw right in. Since we're using the Mustang pedal box here, I actually had to drill holes into the existing pedal pads, and in some cases I was able to drill completely through and then put machine screws and washers and nuts. In others, where I didn't have any place for the drill to go once it got through the pad, like if it was right where the arm, one of the arms is, I had to drill it and tap it for a 1032 machine screw. So like on this one, there are 2 through bolts, and then there are 2 that are tapped. On this one, I think, if I remember right, this one was all machine screws with washers and nuts on it. So they came out really nice. So looking in here, you can't even tell that these were Mustang pedals at one time. They just look like really cool brake and clutch pedals now. And they match nicely with the Russ Thompson throttle pedal. What else? Working on the tunnel top, I got it all screwed in. So all of the hardware for the, I don't know, what do you want to call it? The sub cover, the cover underneath the cover. so I got all that in place. Probably going to have the upholsterer carpet up the side and then around the top, and then just leave this portion that he wraps over the top loose. And then when we go ahead and snap this in, it'll hold the carpet down. Since I was picking up hardware for those pedal pads and the thumb screws for the battery box cover, I went ahead and picked up some of the automotive fasteners, panel fasteners, at the local hardware store. And so this is what they look like. I'm sure everybody's seen them. They're plastic. They have this mushroom head kind of top, and then they've got these what do you call them, barbs on the side. And so what we'll end up doing is we'll position this where we want it, and we'll probably put 6. I think that's what I got here, 2, 4, 6. We'll put 6 of these, so 2 at the back, 2 in the middle, 2 at the front. And normally what I do with these is I just drill a 1/4-inch hole. I'll verify, because sometimes these are different. But a 1/4-inch hole both through the masonite panel and into the aluminum. And then these will actually stay in the masonite top when we take it to the upholsterer. He'll upholster over the top of them, and then they'll just stick through. And anytime we want to take this cover off in the future, we'll just pull the shift boot ring out, which is 4 screws, and then this top will come right off, and then it's just a matter of folding that carpet carefully back and then getting the 10 screws that hold the aluminum tunnel top off. So I don't expect that we'd ever have to change or pull off the tunnel, except if we had to change a clutch, because the transmission would have to come out. But I think this transmission will come out without pulling the tunnel top and without pulling the motor this time. So we'll see. I always like to prepare just so that down the road, if I'm the poor guy that has to do this, I always seem to be the next guy. It'll make my job a little easier. All right, I promised you that I would show you how I test the electrical system in the car and how you can make it a little bit safer. So what I do is, this is an old Schumacher battery charger. See if I can turn it around so you can see the front of it. Just a 4 amp battery charger. This is the old transformer style battery charger. And all I've done is I've taken the battery cable positive and the battery cable negative and hooked those up with the alligator clips. I do not have, repeat, do not have the Holley system tied in yet. I don't want to do any of that stuff until I have a chance to put a jumper on the fuel pump and test for leaks and I want to make sure I've got the oil changed, and I want to make sure I've got the coolant system pretty much squared away before I do that. But the battery cables are tied into the charger right now, so that's going to send power all the way to the front of the car. And if you remember, we have a battery stud that we've mounted right down in there. Let's see, can you see it? Let me go around to the other side of the car. It's a pain in the neck. Oh, I'm going to go this way. With all this stuff in the shop, and I've got cords plugged in, it's just a pain in the neck right now. So right here, you can see that that's where our battery stud is. So we have hot power coming to that battery stud now. So that's sending power then to the Ron Francis harness. There is also a number 10 wire that runs from that stud all the way back to the back of the car to the trunk for that amplifier. And then we have the key switch turned on, so that is sending keyed power to the amplifier. So we have Bluetooth right now. I'll unplug this real quick and plug it back in. So that humming you hear is the charger. It's not the amplifier. So then if I take my phone app here and I go to, let's see, I just need to go to music app and then hit play. And I don't want to play it too long because we'll get a copyright strike, but you can hear that we've got music playing now. And I don't have it turned up real loud, but we have music. So that part of the electrical system is working. We know that. I did turn on the blinkers, but of course, since we have no lights installed, the dash lights just light up solid. So I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to grab all of my headlights. I'm going to grab all of my tail lights, my front marker lights, and all that good stuff. And I'm going to methodically go through and test everything, including the horn, to make sure all that stuff is working. You're not going to be able to test the headlights or the starter hooked up to a battery charger like this. You're going to have to make sure that any battery charger that you're using is a transformer style, you know, like an older battery charger, because all the new ones that are microprocessor controlled aren't going to send, they're just going to see that there's no voltage on the other side of it, or no, you know, nothing to charge, and they're just not going to turn on. So that's why I use this old one. You can also use a regulated power supply, so a 12 volt regulated power supply, and that'll get you something that you can at least test all of your, you know, your turn signals, your brake lights, your front indicator lights, your dash lights, stuff like that, your gauges, and just make sure that none of that stuff has a dead short or you know, a direct short to ground. And from there, then you can put a battery on it, and then you can test some of your higher voltage stuff, the stuff that has a higher ampacity and stuff like that. So let me go upstairs. I'm going to go grab all the stuff for my blinkers, my headlights and stuff, and we'll see if we can't test some of that. All right, you can see we have running lights. We'll try the flashers. Remember, our flasher switch is in a different location than yours might be. You can see the dash lights are on. We've got the indicators flashing. Now, this is going to drive some stuff nuts. You're going to see the load on this. But we have flashing lights up front. We have flashing lights in the back. And so we're going to call that good. I'm not going to go through each little thing with you guys. I think that's going to that's going to kind of show you how you can use a battery charger to test some of the smaller things, the lights, the tail lights, the marker lights, the turn signal, stuff like that. And then you can actually test your low beams if you do it one at a time. High beams are going to trip the circuit breaker. It does anyways on my charger, so you're going to have to connect a battery for that. But with those things out of the way, we've tested the radio, we've tested some other stuff. I'm going to test the heater blower motor here as well in a little while. You'll be able to methodically go through your electrical system. If you popped any fuses, that's where you'll have to start diagnosing stuff. But generally speaking, I don't have a whole lot of problems when I do it this way, because the charger allows you to kind of have a regulated power supply to everything, and you're not putting 600 amps of a battery through stuff and, you know, knocking out every fuse in your fuse panel. All right, I want to thank you guys all for watching. We did pretty good on the electrical today. We had two little issues. Right now I can't get the brake light switch, has power and it's sending power out, but it's not getting to the brake lights, and I think that may have something to do with my relays. So I'm going to double check my relays. And then I've got one problem with the turn signal system. And I think I've got that narrowed down to one item, and I don't want to place blame until I figure out what I or what someone else did wrong. So we're going to wrap the video up here, and thank you guys all for watching. And if you're enjoying the content, please do the like, the share, the subscribe, and all that kind of good stuff. And we will look forward to seeing you all next time. Have a great day.